Thanks for tuning in to Men for the Win, a podcast hosted by David Kufis and Dan Thompson, two avid fans who appreciate well-played baseball, especially when it's done by the Twins. Men for the Win is sponsored by the Grand Group with Edina Realty. Are you looking to purchase a new home in the Twin Cities area? Or perhaps you're trying to sell your current home? Whether you're upsizing or downsizing, the Grand Group with Edina Realty will meet all of your housing needs. Contact the Grand Group by emailing thegrand, G-R-A-N, group at edinarealty.com or call them by phone at 612-817-8751. The Grand Group with Edina Realty, 7-time Minneapolis-St. Paul Magazine Super Agent Award winners. Men for the Win is part of the Pulltab Sports Network, covering sports, culture, and entertainment across the Midwest. Check them out at pulltabsports.com and give them a follow on all your social media platforms at Pulltab Sports. On this episode, David and Hoges recap the Twins' 3-game series against the Detroit Tigers. Thanks for listening. Enjoy. Thanks for tuning in to Men for the Win. My name is David Kufis. With me, as I think the most consistent host in this last month here, is Andrew Hoganson. Dan got called away to do one of his favorite things, which is take his children to the amusement park. Dan Thompson, notorious fan of roller coasters. Hogs.
Loves them. Absolutely loves them. And I think you can say, and as always, Andrew Hoganson, because I mean, this is, I live here feels. Now. This is like 4 in a week, which, to be fair, David, so much happened since you last recorded. I feel like you've been gone for a month.
It feels that way. Hogs. So we're going to get into that a little bit later about my thoughts on the trade deadline and stuff, but let me just say a couple of things. So this is all happening as I'm traveling and I'm in Indy and I'm at the deadline. I'm in this room playing board games and we're in this just big game library, and it's a moment where all we're doing is we each check out a game and we read the rules and then we teach the game to each other and then we play that game and then we play another one.
So you're describing like a waking nightmare, I feel like, but yes, go ahead.
Yes, I would not take you on this trip, folks. But anyway, so my phone is blowing up, right? It's absolutely blowing up. I got texts coming from everywhere. I got every app I own is telling me about all the things that have gone wrong in the trade deadline. Hogs, I have people in my life texting me who don't follow baseball.
Oh.
Not even a little bit. If you look at their interest and what they follow on social media, the Twins don't exist in that universe. Those people are texting me with comments like, "Did you get traded also from the podcast?"
It was wild. It was absolutely wild.
Man.
It was so funny because the text thread between the three of us is generally pretty active, especially in the summer. There's a lot of baseball to talk about. This was the most active it's ever been, and you were dead silent. And we knew why, so it wasn't like anyone was disappointed. But I've looked forward to this episode so much because I legitimately don't know most of your thoughts on everything that has gone down. And it was such a cool, not cool, that's the wrong word, but a perfect storm about no idea what David thinks. He's out playing games right now.
Doing what I do best, Hogs, playing board games and ignoring texts from Dan Thompson.
Who doesn't love doing that?
I do have one quick note here. So I've been listening to these episodes that you guys have recorded since I've been gone, and I really enjoy that. We kind of tradition now. We listen to the shows on the way back, and we had a whole extra show to listen to.
You got 3 of them.
That extra deadline show, which was great. However, I don't know if people know this, but Carlos Correa and I, we text more often than people know, and he's a big fan of the show, been a listener for years now. I mean, since he's been with the org. And Dan Thompson has sort of this crazy, I don't know, just fixation or fascination with Carlos Correa. So Carlos sent me this email and he said, "Could you just send this message to Dan Thompson?" All it was, Hogs, was this audio file.
Why are you so obsessed with me?
That's all. That was amazing.
It's easily the angriest I have ever heard him about any topic. He got flustered and raised his voice and was waving his arms. Things were happening. I can't believe it because I didn't care about. I mean, I care very much that he got traded, but the route that it happened with him requesting, I'm fine with. And Dan, it was just so shocking. You'd think it would be the other way around.
Because I'm about to panic.
He was in a rough stretch there.
My goodness.
It was just so funny because it came up 3 times throughout the episode. Dan kept bringing up Correa.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll get into this more, but I was ticked about the trade deadline, and Dan was trying to put the positive spin on it, but yet when it came to Correa, he was furious with Correa. Dan is more furious with Carlos Correa than he is with any of the Pulltabs, and that to me is mind-boggling. Which maybe Dan hates Griffin Jacks now, because Griffin Jacks, we learned, asked out as well. So I don't know. I'd like to hear his thought.
Yes, we're going to get to that also. So one other quick note here. I called the Twins, Hogs. I'm a season ticket holder, and I called the Twins, and I said, "Here's the deal. Tell me why I should keep these seats for next season." said, what can you do for me? And ideally what I wanted them to move my seats to a better section without raising the price.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of was angling for, right? Do you know what they offered me, Hogs? 2 seats to a game this season in section 118. And I was like, turns out that doesn't move the needle as much as you think it might.
Well,
the rep told me they're his personal seats. He doesn't even want to go to the games, Hogs.
It gets worse, David. I got an email today that said, because I have purchased group tickets in the past, not even this year, but in the past, I have purchased group tickets. They would give me 2 free tickets to a game this year as well. We are officially in the can't even give them away era of Twins baseball right now.
I just don't understand. I understand the Pulltabs are the cheapest people on the planet, but you have to do something to keep the people that are your lifeline to being able to afford anything for this team.
It's dire. It has to be dire right now. Like I'm pretty curious what this Royals series is going to look like with attendance. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and jump into the series recap. Not a bad series to talk about. We're not even delaying talking about the series.
It's weird.
It's just I haven't had this outlet, Hogs, in quite some time. So let's go ahead and jump in.
Series recap.
Game 1, Hogs, really the only sort of dead spot for the Twins here. Twins lose 6-3. Rocco finally let Adams start, and he does a decent job here. 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 7 Ks. The runs were on a home run. That's not a terrible line.
We're lowering the bar. We just have to say that, right? Like if you're going to say that that's a decent start, we are lowering the bar. But you are correct.
That's a decent start for somebody who's pitching who normally would.
We are grading on a curve the remainder of the year. I feel like.
No question. No teachers here to correct us, Hogs. We can grade using whatever rubric we want.
But yeah, here. 7 Ks too. Not a terrible start. Not a terrible start at all.
No, not bad. So top of the first, Twins get on the board early thanks to the hot bat of Ryan Jeffers with a solo shot. The new dad, not new dad, but I guess the new dad for the 3rd time,
right.
4th time. I don't know how many kids he has. Whatever. Twins are up 1-0. Then top of the 5th, the Twins strike again on another solo shot. It's kind of a theme of this series. This time from Trevor Larnach. Twins are up 2-0. Bottom of the 5th, Tigers get their first 2 off Adams with the aforementioned home run by Perez to tie the game. Then top of the 6th, folks, after Eddie Julian singles, Austin Martin hits into a double play, but then Matt Wallner takes the lead back for the Twins on, you guessed it, a solo home run.
Why couldn't we just get just one home run with a guy on base? Like, come on. It's too much
all
to
we're
ask.
asking for. But so bottom of the 6th, unfortunately, the Tigers offense does come alive against Noah Davis, a pitcher the Twins picked up after the Dodgers DFA'd him in June. Hogs, I'm so far behind. I'm like updating our roster. And the biggest thing, I like to keep the 2026 roster updated also. Dude, looking at that roster, it is slim. They got a lot of slots to fill with guys who we've never heard of.
This bullpen, this bullpen is guys that we haven't even heard of before. Like, I mean, it's insane. Like Noah,
Correct.
You'd think it'd be like some guys from the trade. I had no idea who Noah Davis was before this game.
Nope, didn't even know he was in the org. But he immediately got sent back down to AAA, so we won't really see him again for a bit. 1 innings pitched, 5 hits, 3 earned runs. Top of the 7th, the Twins have a chance to get back. But again, all the Twins know how to do is to ground into double plays and hit solo home runs. So they fail to capitalize here. Bottom of the 7th, the Tigers add 1 on a Dingler solo homer. So Tigers win this one 6-3.
I got to talk about game 1 real quick. This was frustrating to me because this game was lost by I don't even know if I can call it the bullpen. That just seems like it's too aggressive for what they actually are. By the schlubs that are pretending to be the bullpen. We're in this game. It's 3-2 in the 6th. You got to think in the past, this is a game the Twins have a great chance at. And I know we still had slip-ups there, but we lost our 5 top guys. I get they're not trying to win anymore this year, but this game hurt from the trade deadline perspective a lot, and it really grinded my gears.
Let's move on here. Game 2, though, Hogs. Same score, different result. Twins win this one 6-3. Zebby Matthews, working to cement his spot in the rotation, has a decent line here. 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, and 6 Ks. And it really needs to be noted, the earned run that he got saddled with was ridiculous because it was a ball that should have been labeled an air on Martin in center field. He lost the ball in the sun. It was going to be sort of a tough play, but it hit his glove. Like the part of the glove you catch, the webbing of the glove, Hogs. It wasn't like it hit the heel of the glove. It wasn't like it got like the top of the glove. Like it was a ball that had he closed his glove at the right moment, it would have been an out. How on earth is that Zebby Matthews' fault?
I'm kind of a firm believer on the whole, like, as long as you're not Byron Buxton because he's covering way too much ground, if the ball hits you in the glove in the outfield, it's an error. Like it just has to be an error.
Yes. Oh, I forgot. Dan was left unsupervised for a few episodes, so he just started to make as many sounders as he could without any input from me. So I got to play that here.
On the subject of sounders, too, when we were talking about the trade deadline and Dan was still going through who we still had left, I feel like we had like a minute and a half straight of just sounders going there for a while.
Yes.
The man loves the button bar.
Oh, he was a big fan. Top of the first, the Twins are facing off against the recently traded Chris Paddock, who provided evidence why this was a good trade. After 2 quick outs, Jeffers doubles, Clemens doubles to score Jeffers. Then Luke Keaschall's first at bat back from the IL from a broken forearm. He hits his first major league home run. Twins are up 3-0.
I have magic hair that glows when I sing.
I'm
that
impressed.
name, Hoges,
I am
is
impressed
come up
how
a little bit
long
more.
you waited to play that sounder. You waited so long into this episode. Like, I know we're like finally getting to his first game. I thought you were just going to lead off with it. You were so excited about this.
He is going to be present in this show, certainly, Hoges. But so, bottom of the third and the top of the fourth, the Tigers get one on a couple of doubles in the bottom of the fourth, but right back into it for the Twins in the top of the fourth. Trevor Larnach hits a solo shot, so the Twins are up 4-1 at this point. Top of the fifth gets interesting. Wallner walks, Jeffers doubles, scores Wallner on a really close play at the plate, and it's sort of weird. Wallner had this weird slide on the outside of the plate that makes sense, but the catcher had actually set up outside the plate, and the ball beats Wallner by a couple of steps, but because of the way that the catcher positioned himself, he tags the back leg of Wallner instead of the front, and so Wallner was able to get his hand into the plate before the tag. I thought live he was out because the ball beat him by so much, but no, replay confirmed. That's a safe. That's a run for the Twins.
For sure. And I love those sneaky slides when you're just like, oh, he's toast, and you get like a little bit of the swim move or going to the outside. Like, it just, I love that strategy part of the game.
Definitely. So continuing in the top of the fifth, though, Luke Keaschall again comes through with an RBI single to score Jeffers. Twins are up 6-1 at this point. Keaschall is then thrown out at second, but it's when Royce is at bat, it's a good time to steal. I love the aggressiveness. We're going to talk a lot more here about the way that the management of this team has changed drastically because the makeup of the team has changed so drastically. Bottom in the eighth, then, the Tigers get to Cole Sands and put up a couple of runs, but Sands finishes the inning, only giving up 2 runs. Then Topa, of course, who we all imagined would be our season closer here at the beginning of August. He gets the save in the ninth, and Twins win this one 6-3.
It's kind of like what Dan and I were talking about. We're going to have a new guy getting a new save every single series. We had Erasmo Ramirez this last time. Now we got Justin Topa. Cody Clemens might be next. Who knows? It's going to be exciting.
You never know. So game 3, Twins win this one sort of in a blowout, I'd say. 9-4, Twins win. A bunch of Twins pitchers you've never heard of, and Cody Funderburk keep the Tigers' offense in check.
I love how Cody Funderburk's the one you've heard of, right? A bunch of Twins pitchers you've never heard of. And Cody Funderburk.
Yes. Thomas Hatch throwing his hat in the ring here for the Cy Young candidate this season goes 4 1/3 innings, 0 earned runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. He also gets the win. I think it was that Twins guy on Twitter who tweeted that. I shouldn't take credit. But top of the first, Twins get on the board early. Rodon with a single, who Dan Thompson hates apparently for some reason. Wallner singles, then 2 quick outs. But Golden Boy Hoges, Golden Boy Luke Keaschall,
I have magic hair that glows when I sing.
steps up to the plate and hits a 2-run double to left field. My goodness, can that boy hit, Hoges?
It's great. I mean, it's unbelievable. It makes you wonder what would happen if we still had a team right now and we got to call him up.
Hey, don't lose faith, Hoges. We're going to talk about that
the
later.
Faith is
top
gone.
of the second, Twins get another run on a wild pitch that followed a Brooks Lee and Eddie Julian single, so the Twins are up 3-0. Bottom second and bottom third, Tigers actually take the lead off home runs from Torkelson, McKinstry, and Kerry Carpenter. So Tigers are up 4-3 at this point, but thankfully, top of the fourth, Twins tie it right back up after another solo shot from Brooks Lee. It's like 9 solo home runs at this point
insane.
in this game.
Well, they tied the second highest. This is an ESPN stat for sure, but they said it on the radio today, and I thought it was interesting. It's the second most home runs hit in a 3-game series at Comerica Park in Twins history. The only other 2 that were more were during the 2019 Bomba squad. So pretty impressive. The ball was flying, but it'd be interesting just to, so many solo shots. Like, it could have been even more.
Yes, very easily, because there were a couple of balls that were right on the warning track. Top of the fifth, the Twins take the lead back. Wallner reaches on an error, Jeffers with an RBI double, and then Keaschall with an RBI double, because that's all that man does. Twins go up 6-4. Top of the 6th, the Twins add 2 more on solo shots from Martin in a pinch hitting appearance, and Alan Rodon, who I guess I'm starting to like and Dan hates again for whatever reason, puts the Twins up 8-4. Top of the 7th, the Twins add 1 more after Tigers walk the bases loaded. Mickey Gasper, the power hitter, gets the RBI on a soft ground out to the pitcher, and the Twins win this one 9-4, Hogs.
And it could have been a lot more. It could have been a whole lot more. They bases loaded there that with 1 out and they only get 1 run pushed across. It could have been more. It was a good way to end the series.
It could have been more, Hogs. And sometimes when I go to the store and I look at my shopping cart, I look at what I pay and I think, man, there definitely could have been more here. And there would have been, Hogs, if I would have gone to Cub Foods, because with summer here, it's prime grilling season, a time to gather the neighbors for a good old backyard barbecue. And lucky for you, Cub Foods is your one-stop shop for all of your grocery needs. With everyday fresh products and a wide selection, you'll be in great shape to host the next grill out with all your backyard essentials. Grab your fresh produce at deli meats, party trays, and bakery all in one stop. With over 100 locations in Minnesota, check out your local Cub on your next shopping trip for all your summertime essentials.
Catch 'em all, Kirby Puckett!
Puckett's Picks winner.
Oh, Hogs, it feels good for the world to be back in order here. The listeners took Martin, who had 5. Dan took Lewis, who had -1. You took Wallner. I took Lee. And we both scored 8 points. However, they each had 1 home run. But my guy, Brooks Lee, never struck out, Hogs, and that's what we love to see, so I get the victory.
He's the guy to go to right now. Lee's on fire. He's the only one who didn't give up on the team, still had that good mentality. Great series here. Him and Wallner really putting together a couple good series on the road here.
It's a little unfortunate because I feel like this is a little too late. I didn't get the bonus because Jeffers was on fire this series. I am in last, still at 8.5. The listeners are in third with 9. Dan's at 11, and Hogs, you have a pretty commanding lead here with 15 wins.
It's been a good year. It's been a good year for me, minus the fact that the win-loss column for the home team.
All right, well, let's keep pushing here. Beast versus Bench.
Beast versus Bench.
Is losing fun? Is losing fun?
I may as well go first because you just talked about who got the bonus point. I went with Ryan Jeffers. I feel like it's only fair after I just pooped on the catchers the entire last episode for how poorly they're performing. Jeffers is on a massive hitting streak right now. He went 5 for 13 with 3 RBI and a home run. It's good to see him producing now. Hopefully this carries over a little bit. I mean, everything that we're saying now is a little bit too late, but he had a good series here. He had a good series the one before. It's nice to see him turning it around for once.
I'm telling you, man, you add another kid to your family, good things are bound to happen.
Dad strength.
That's what it comes down to. I'm going to go for a record here how many times I can play this sounder in one episode.
I have magic hair that glows when I sing.
I have to go with Luke Keaschall. Dude, I love watching this guy play baseball. 4 for 9, 6 RBI, Hogs. 6 RBI in 2 games. The kid, I get it. Small sample size when he first came up. Even smaller sample size this time. But what are the odds? Is it really that fluky that he just comes up both times and dominates?
Well, I mean, look at Exhibit A, Royce Lewis. When every time he came up with the bases loaded, he hit a grand slam for a while, and now we're asking more questions. But the thing with him, too, Keashall's fun to watch. Like, he brings a fire to the game, and you can't be more clutch than what he's been so far. So, yeah, yours is the easy choice here, David. That's a great pick. It's exciting baseball to watch him out on the field right now, and we need that.
I also want to say the double play they turned in today's game with Brooks Lee at short and Keaschall at second. Lee makes a great play going to his left. Keaschall gets to the bag and sort of has to underhand throw it to get the throw out quickly to first base. That's a play I could watch those guys make for a few years, Hogs. And I'm telling you, that may be our middle infield for a bit.
Yeah, it really could be. And maybe, I mean, I'd still rather have Carlos Correa out there, but it's nice to see him up here and performing well.
No, get rid of that guy. No culture built here, Hogs.
I want to build a championship culture.
Who's on your bench, Hogs?
I went with you and Dan, and here's why. Neither of you is as mad as you should be about this whole trade deadline shenanigans. Both of you trying to paint these rosy pictures on here. I don't like it.
I haven't even gotten to say my piece.
I don't even care. You're too happy already on this episode. I can tell what you're going to... I don't even know what you're going to say. You've laughed. You've giggled. You've smiled. There should have just been... You should have started this episode off with just screaming and ranting and raving. Dan spent the whole last episode trying to tell me how this was a good thing. He doesn't even know what the plan is. I want more anger and more vitriol out of both of you.
Drawn an ejection. There it goes. And that was Gardy's gripe.
Hogs, my goodness, buddy. It's interesting. The more consistent you are on the show, the more upset you get.
It's with you
now
too.
You know what it's like. No, I know you spend too much time talking to Dan or myself. It comes out.
You can't handle it.
I don't know if we told you this. When Dan was here, we spent about an hour. We were playing a board game and arguing about the music from Gladiator and Pirates of the Caribbean. It's a long story. It goes back and forth.
What's better? I want to know what you think is better.
Well, it's the same music, or it might be.
Okay.
Okay, it's a lot. No, don't. I don't even want to talk about it. Dan's going to be dying in the car when he's listening to this, I'm sure, because we argued. I said it was the same music. He said no, and then no, it was adapted from one of them. And they're like, well, that's not the same music. Then I'm like, it is the same music, and we went like that for like an hour.
That's a good.
And everybody else at the table was super tired of it, and people were like, I think we understand why you have a podcast.
Yeah, right.
So you guys can disagree and argue
That's
for a while,
true.
but. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I'm not upset. I was in a very happy place when the trade deadline stuff was happening.
It does help.
And because I couldn't evaluate the returns, I didn't have my computer and my setup and stuff. I'm just working off my phone. And honestly, your brain is working so hard to learn all these rules and play this many games back to back to back to back. There's really not a time for me to be super upset.
But you're back now, David, and the anger should be here now.
I got back, and I got back to the inbox at work that's full and children who haven't seen their dad. It's a whole thing, folks. Anyway, okay, I'm going to give it to Cole Sands. He's sort of supposed to be the leader, I think, out there in the bullpen now. I mean, if you have to pick one. I do wonder if they drew straws and were like, okay, you're going to be the leader of the bullpen now. So 3 hits, 2 earned runs. You're supposed to be the closer, and you got put in the 8th inning. I just don't love that. I think you need to step up in these moments where truly you're the guy that people are going to look to at this point because we don't know the names of any of the other pitchers in the bullpen.
Do you think he's a little offended that everyone said the Twins traded their top 5 relievers, and he's like, well, clearly I'm not in that top 5.
Didn't they say top 6? Okay, well let's go here. Rocco's Rewind.
Rocco's Rewind.
I can go with mine first. It's pretty small, right? Like Rocco doesn't have a whole lot of decision making to be doing with like the bullpen and everything. It's mostly who's there. Him leaving Hatch in there for 4 1/3 today was so funny because it seemed so unplanned, and he just kept getting guys out and doing well and chugging along. Rocco just kept him in there. I would love to know what the actual plan was going into the game. It could not have been 4 1/3 from him, and I loved it. I was listening to the radio broadcast, which, by the way, the guy that the Twins have had filling in on the radio for Atterbury while he's been out on vacation, I thought he's been phenomenal, and he just kept giggling about it, like, oh, Hatch is coming out there for another inning. I guess we'll see how that goes. I just thought it was kind of a cute moment that they just like, all right, let's see.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
He stayed out there.
Just kept going.
So here's my thing. Clearly, since the trade deadline, there has been a shift. And the way that this team has been sort of developed now, for lack of what's the opposite of develop? Like whatever, because this roster has been broken down to its studs basically. Rocco has been left to manage in a different way than he has previously. Which previously, I think a lot of it honestly was injury management and making sure guys aren't hurt and like not extending themselves too far. And now Rocco's like, it's that scene in Miracle when he's blowing the whistle and making them run or making them skate.
Yep.
You know, that's what's happening here with Rocco. He's like, nope, we're a much more agile, streamlined group. We will steal every base. We will run like your life depends on it. You will dive for every ball that's within your ability to catch. And I just think, what does Rocco need to do at this point to keep his job for next season? Let's assume the team doesn't get sold, which honestly, I hope that's not the case more than anything. Let's just assume the Pulltabs are still in charge come next season. Well, first of all, do you think they care enough to keep Rocco or fire Rocco? Or like, what does Rocco need to do to keep his job in that scenario?
If the Pulltabs are still in charge, Rocco is keeping his job for sure. There's no way they're eating the money that they have to pay him next year and paying someone else that money. They're way too cheap for that. He will for sure be the manager. I think he kind of will be no matter what, because I feel like the new owners are going to come in and try to learn the system. I'm kind of stealing this take from Trevor Plouffe because this is what he said. I think I agree with it pretty solidly. You're going to learn the organization. You're going to learn the GM. You're going to learn how Falvey works. Then after that, I think there's no promises for anything, but I think they will take a while to kind of evaluate the talent. But to your point about them running all over the place now, and this isn't really meant as a slight against these guys because they're basically all AAA guys. They're all replaceable right now. So there's no reason to have guys try to just not get hurt. Play as hard as you can. You're trying to make this team. And if that's by running and making things happen on the base pass or playing defensively, that isn't the worst way to play the game. It's fun to watch too. And I think these guys are really trying to make a point. And they quite literally have nothing to lose.
Well, and so that's sort of my question, though. Is this sort of an audition for Rocco to see what he can do with the squad that's clearly not made up of guys who are currently all-stars? You got a couple of guys who truly have some really high ceilings, but it's so early. We don't know who any of these guys are.
Well, and Dan critiques Rocco a lot, right, for not being able to develop players. This is his time to try to prove that a little bit. And we have seen that, right? All of these, like Julian, Miranda, Lewis, all these guys have had sophomore slumps that have extended way past their sophomore year. Now Rocco's got to show it with this new batch of guys. And yeah, I agree. I think he knows if he didn't already know it before, he's an idiot, but he's for sure coaching for his job.
I mean, I'm still in my sophomore slump, Hogue, so I can't be that critical of these guys. All right, well, let's push here. Minnesota moment.
Minnesota moment.
Without a doubt, it's Keaschall's home run in Game 2. Just like, welcome back, first major league home run, such a cool moment, dead center, smoked it too. Like, it's just a great hit, people going crazy. The Provis's call was phenomenal. Picking anything else in this series is disingenuous because that was just phenomenal.
Yes, so I'm going to sort of co-opt my Minnesota moment and make it a question about Keaschall. Again, like I was saying, it's a very small sample size. We had a small sample size before he went on the IL. This is not a fluke, right? Like, is he, I don't imagine that these numbers are going to continue. He's going to come back down to earth, obviously, but is he this good?
Did you get hit in the head? Like, who are you? Lewis played like 100 games and had better stats than this, and you kept being like, small sample size, which, to be fair, you kind of ended up being right so far.
Also, hey, rude. Last episode, you ripped me like I'm a moron, like I'd been hit in the head with a brick like 6 times. Hey, I was eating steak, thank you very much, because of my betting acumen.
That's true. That is true. Hey, welcome to the club, David. Drink the Kool-Aid. Yeah, this is not a fluke. Keaschall's amazing. Top 5 MVP next year, I'm thinking.
I have magic hair that glows when I sing.
Honestly, with a sounder like that, he better be fantastic.
He has to. We lost so many other guys with great sounders. We need that. You know what's wild? I never even thought of this. We didn't have a sounder for Durant. That's just weird.
No.
How?
No, I think it would have been just the dong.
Yeah, that would have been a good one.
Like, it was really cool too to see, like, okay, I'm jumping the gun a little bit here because it was really cool to see that the Twins like gave that whole package to the Phillies.
Yep.
This is what I want to say about that. And I love that you guys talked about this last episode. Watching that introduction of Duran with a full stadium, because the Phillies understand that if you put money into your baseball team and they're good, that fans are going to show up.
Who would have thought?
How electric is that?
Oh,
host?
man.
And the Twins, think about it. How many times did we get to see that with a full stadium? Like twice.
Yeah. Oh, right. I got to see it at the Ryan Skeens game because that game was full and that was a Friday night and Nelly was playing later. That was absolutely phenomenal. And then like during the playoffs, but those were day games. Like it was amazing. Have you ever had more mixed emotions though watching that clip? Like, I'm very happy that the Twins shared that with the Phillies for sure. And it was awesome watching, but that part made me upset, right? Because I was like, oh, I wish we still, like, we got to see this at home and we had this many people in the stands and all of that. And then he 4-pitch outing and he gets the save too. You wish he's back. It was a lot of stuff going on at once, which I'm sure he was feeling that too. But it's weird, kind of sort of rooting for the Philadelphia Twins right now because of how many guys. I mean, Kepler, Bader, Duran, all likable guys, and Bader, even not after that long, we kind of fell in love with him a little bit on this team. So it's a team I'm going to watch closely in the playoffs.
Yes, this segues really well into our Mauer's musings here, where I'm going to talk a little bit about my thoughts about the trade deadline, so let's go there.
I just don't know how it can get any better.
Mauer's musings.
So, Hogs, I've had a little bit more time to reflect than you guys did, and like you guys were responding pretty quickly after it happened, and so I've sort of had some time to reflect a little bit here. And first, I want to start with, everybody seems to be breaking these trades down into 3 buckets, and I think that's a reasonable thing to do. So the first bucket are the guys who were on walk years, your Castros, your Baders, your Frances, so on and so forth. The guys who are on walk years, yes, it makes a ton of sense to trade them right now. You can bring up guys from the minors to sort of fill those holes, and you can see what you can do the rest of the season, give these guys extended audition. No problem there. That's the first bucket. The second bucket is the Carlos Correa trade. Now, I'm actually not that upset about this trade. I wasn't that upset when I heard about it. I was a little annoyed when I found out how much the Twins had to pay and that they literally got a guy who he was bartending a month ago, basically. So I'm a little upset at the $30 million, but first things first, Correa in the media now talking about the switch to third base. Some people have been like, oh no, there's no way he told the Twins that. Well, no, I think he probably did, because if you remember, Hoges, when he got signed by the Giants, and then they said no, and then he got signed by the Mets, and then they said no. If he were to sign with the Mets, he would have been a third baseman since 2 years ago.
And he said it right away. He's like, I get it. Yeah. This is Lindor's team. I will be a third baseman. He said that to Cohen right off the bat, widely reported. Yes. I wholeheartedly agree. I think he did tell the Twins that he would play third base and would like to.
Yes. So this is what I think about Correa, though. I think he's going to continue to decline. I think his best years are behind him. I think he's likely going to continue to struggle with injury. And I just do not see him being that great of a piece for the Astros. And I hope they look back at this and they think, wow, that was really dumb of us to pick up the last years of this contract.
No, you're everything that you're saying isn't necessarily wrong. But, David, they saved $70 million. They will not reinvest $70 million into this team. Like,
no, it's a terrible way to think about it, because
I'm not
assuming they will. No, okay, but at this point, would you rather, right now, you'd rather have Carlos Correa playing short than Brooks?
Without a shadow of a doubt. That's the stupidest question I've ever heard. He's still performing. He's having an off year, and he's batting .270 with like a 700 OPS. It's not good by his standards, but it's like second best on our baseball team. And this is an off year.
That's not saying too much.
It's not. No, it truly is not. But like his leadership is valuable on this team.
No, because I'm not convinced that his leadership was doing all that much for this team.
Because they went 3-3 after he gets traded away.
No. This is what I'm saying. First of all,
I want to build a championship culture.
There's competing factors here. There's multiple different facets of this conversation to be had. The first of all that you need to get out of your mind right now, you can't think about the payroll with the Pulltabs the way that other teams probably do.
That's my point.
If they save money someplace. Yes.
That's my point.
But hear me what I'm saying. First of all, I think there's more to it than just dumping Correa to dump Correa. I do think that the new ownership idea is probably playing a role here. Let's start there. Secondly, this is the big thing here. I think that Carlos Correa, since 2023, has not been good for this organization. Not because he's not been a great player. He hasn't been.
He was in 2024, minus being hurt. Like half the year, he was phenomenal.
Oh, that's fine. But hear me out for a second here. I texted you. You even said on the show that it was a great question. You refused to use it for Mauer's Musings, which I was really frustrated.
I knew you'd love that.
My question is, I don't think was my question initially, but now I'm giving you the answer instead of asking it. So my question was, Correa ever happy here after 2023? And I think the answer is clearly no. He came in with the understanding that this front office and the ownership group was sort of turning a corner, and they were going to build something together that was going to be a lasting team that was going to compete for a world championship.
I think we all were, right?
Okay. And in 2023, after that Blue Jays victory, you're looking at this team and you're thinking, oh my goodness, this is a turning point. They brought in Correa. They spent the money. They put up the chips finally. And now it looks like this team could contend. And there may be 1 to 2 pieces away. If you keep Sonny Gray, if you bring in another left-handed bat for the outfield, there's things that you could have done at the end of 2023 to make this team a contender, a true contender in 2024. When they cut payroll, Carlos Correa, his mindset had to change, and I bet, I'm not joking, if the Astros came calling in the offseason of 2023 and the front office had said to Carlos Correa that we're going to slash payroll by $30 million, by the way, Houston said that they'll take you back through a trade, would you waive your clause to go back to Houston? I bet Correa takes that deal then.
But why are we mad at him for that? Like
I'm not saying that I'm mad at him. Okay. I'm the one saying this is a good move. You're the one mad at him.
No, I'm not mad at him at all. I am totally respect him wanting to get out. And if I were him in
then why are you telling me I'm mad at him? I'm not mad at him. I'm saying that I think this was a good move by the Twins, even if they don't reinvest this money. Because if anything, it gives this team an idea of what this team could look like in the next couple of seasons.
No, but he makes them better on the field. He makes them better.
I don't think he does at this point.
That's crazy. That's lunacy. It's funny that we disagree with this because Dan does not agree with what you just said at all. He is mad at Correa for wanting to get out.
No, I understand. Don't you remember the sounder I played?
Why are you so obsessed with me?
You literally, you couldn't have set that whole part up better. Like I agree wholeheartedly with everything that you're saying. Where we disagree, quite obviously, is the value that he currently brings to the team. If you told me, and I get that I need to get this out of my head, and you're absolutely right because we can't think like this. But if you told me they were going to reinvest $70 million million into payroll, that all of that next year, the years after that, then I'm okay with this. I still wouldn't have done it because I think he brings a lot of intangibles to this team that we don't have right now.
See, no, this is what's so funny because you and I typically disagree on this because we talk about the clubhouse guy.
That's why it's funny to me that you think he's such like a stinker in that clubhouse.
I think he is. I think if you look at the Jax situation, which we haven't even talked about.
He helped Jax out there.
No, I don't think he did. That's the whole point here, Hogs. I think Jax was upset at Rocco. Rocco obviously bungled that whole situation with Jax, knowing he's going to get traded, leaving him out there, having him have to sit through a delay, and then gets rocked, and then he pulled him out, and then let all of those earned runs go against Jax.
You think Correa was defending Rocco more in that situation then? Or
no, he was defending Jax.
Yeah, that's what what do we disagree? How is that not a good clubhouse guy?
He's driving a division between Rocco and the other players.
So you want a bunch of little children out there that are just going to march to Rocco's beat the entire time.
Rocco is the same age as half the guys on the roster, Hogs. What's it matter? This is what I'm saying.
This is our funniest disagreement I think we've ever had because
I still don't know if I could tell you what our disagreement was at this point, Hogs.
I think he brings value to the team right now, and I disagree with the trade because of that. You think he doesn't bring value to the trade to the team right now?
I think he brings some value, but he doesn't bring anything near his contract, and with a team that's not going to make the postseason anyway.
But we didn't know that. We didn't know that until we don't know that next year. Because David, I asked this to Dan, and we're getting so off base here. But do you think they have a chance at making the playoffs in the next 3 years? Because I would say, without a doubt, no.
Oh, see, I disagree there.
Oh my goodness, you guys! Why am I the pessimist? Like, what happened?
Okay. I don't even know I truly don't know. People are going to listen to this and be like, nobody understands the perspective of anybody. They disagree, but they kind of agree.
I feel like we agree on 99% of it. Is that last 1% that's just getting us off
that
base.
piece.
We could talk about this trade, I think, for 7 hours, and we'll still be here.
No question. No question. But so I want to get through these other pieces, though, before we move on. So real quick. Jax and Duran, let's touch on them really quick. I could understand moving one of them, and I would definitely have moved Jax because I'm telling you, there's bad juju or something on the mound.
You've converted me.
I'm telling you, something ain't right when that guy's on the mound. The whole world tilts.
It's just physics.
Venus is in retrograde. I don't understand. I don't believe in any of that either. But something is wrong when Griffin Jax is on the mound. So and clearly him and Rocco, this was obviously a boiling point, so I can't imagine this is the first time they've sort of butt heads on things.
Yep.
Like, remember earlier in the season when Griffin Jax went to Rocco and said, I think you should put me in lower leverage roles, and Dan's like, what a mature take from Griffin Jax. It's like, what are you talking? Clearly Rocco was going to do that anyway. That's what my kid breaks a vase, I find it, and then they come find me before they think I found it, and they tell me they broke the vase. What are you talking about? Like, no question that already happened. So I can understand moving one of them, but moving both of them, seeing the return they got, you guys talked about this last episode. I don't want to beat a dead horse here.
There he is, beating that dead horse.
But I just think you're trading these guys with team control, and I don't think you got the return that you should have for trading guys with team control when you look around the league what other guys got, especially for Duran, who I think, man, he's going to be one of the best there is in the next couple of seasons. It's really frustrating to me. But so it looks like, let's go to your musing here because I think that helps kind of balance this discussion out.
I think, David, if this one we disagree on, we're going to have some issues. But please, for the love of all things, wrap up your take with why did we trade Louis Varland?
I have no idea. That was the most baffling move I've ever seen. This was my favorite. I think it was Bob Nightingale wrote this. He talks about Varland's reaction to this trade. He says he was devastated, leaving the Twins players seething and rival GMs dumbfounded. Folks, if you haven't gone and listened to Louis Varland's introduction by the announcers in his first outing with the Blue Jays, it is hilarious because the commentators are talking about how this move made no sense. Yeah. Nobody can understand it. You're trading a hometown guy with 5 years of team control, born and raised in St. Paul,
making $650,000,
making the amount of money that Carlos Correa makes over breakfast. Yes. Okay,
literally the minimum. You cannot make less than that. It is the bottom.
Ridiculous. There's no understanding this, and unless somebody comes to me and says that Louis Varland shot Rocco's dog, that's the only thing that would make sense to me that why this trade happened. It is bizarre, especially for a guy who I think arguably could be a very top 10 closer in the league over the next couple of seasons.
And a guy,
maybe I'm being optimistic, but he hits 100 and he has decent control.
And a guy who gave up starting for this team too to be a reliever. Like, he's a team player on top of that. Like, granted, there may not have been much of a chance for him to make it in a starting position, but he gave it up and he excelled at this. But yeah, that one breaks my heart. And the Twins players reacting like that, and a lot of people have said that who have ties to that clubhouse, I kind of like that anger from them right there, because this one,
no question.
I don't know. Thank you, David. I'm so glad that we agreed on that one at least.
Yes. Well, and so this is my other question though about this. Wow, this is crazy how long we've talked about this, but I've been building up.
You haven't been able to talk about it
for days. Yeah, and all the guys who I'm with are like quasi-ball guys. Like, none of the guys are like really into baseball, and so it's like there's only so many times I can say I can't believe they trade Varland before they're like, okay, can we it's your turn? Can you take your turn?
Dan and I got 3 episodes of this, so I will let you go.
Okay, so here's my thing. What is this? Because this is the other part of the phone call with the Twins that bothered me. The guy, the script that he's basically reading off of, right? He's like, well, I think you normally go to Twins games just to like spend time with other people, right? It's not really about the baseball, whether they win or lose. And I'm like, okay, dude, you are barking up the wrong tree. Because if you told me I could only go to Twins games and never go with anyone else, I would still go. So let's go ahead and just take that off the table right now. But then he wants to go through the semantics of the trades and like which ones were decent. And he's like, so is it sort of was it the Jackson Duran ones and like the Varland ones? Are those the ones you're upset about? I'm like, dude, if you want to do this, we can. I mean, I have a podcast. I haven't got to talk about this in days. I will spend all day on the phone with you. No, I'm not even joking. I'm thinking like, I think Minnesota's a single party consent state for recording phone calls. I think I could record this thing and be like, if you really want to get into this and you want to defend these trades, guy on the phone who works for the Twins, sure, we can get into it. But let me tell you, I am so mad. I don't even care if my arguments are bogus. I will win out of spite, I think, here. But so that was really frustrating, the whole like pivot to like, it's just a nice fun night out at the ballpark. Do you think I want to go and watch a team lose because it's nice out?
Yeah.
I can spend a lot of time, a lot of places because it's nice out, Hogue. It doesn't have to be at Target Field. But so my question is, I'm trying to understand, and I tell this guy on the phone, I'm not joking, I kept him on the phone longer than I should have, but I was like, this feels like we're sort of entering a rebuild. He's like, well, I don't really think they view it like that. I'm like, really? Tell me, guy on phone, what do you think the front office is doing here? Like, and so my question is, if this is truly a rebuild, somebody explain to me why you're not shopping Joe Ryan, why you're not shopping Bailey Ober. If you're trying to rebuild, get rid of these guys who have a ton of team control left if you don't think you're going to be competitive in 3 years. And to answer your question earlier, the reason why I'm so optimistic about this team moving forward is that, I know how many times I said pitching wins championships, Hogs. And this team will have good starting pitching. The bullpen is non-existent. The number of names I had to cross off and move around on our roster spreadsheet was insane. I still don't know who's in our bullpen. If you asked me, 80% of the season this season, I would have been able to list you the Twins roster, no question.
Easily.
There were a couple of times where I was on vacation and I didn't follow a couple of small moves it made, but the bullpen I could still even get right. And now it's like, you said, I'm going to give you $1,000 for every member of the Twins bullpen you can name. I think I'd go away $1,000 richer. This is all I would have.
That might be about it.
So I guess this is my question. Why are you not selling these guys with team control if you're selling other guys with team control? Is it truly that you didn't get enough? And if you didn't think you were getting enough for Joe Ryan, why do you think you got enough for Duran?
There's the anger, by the way, that I've been looking for this entire episode. I'm glad I finally got it out of you. But David, here's what I'm going to answer your question with a scary note. They might trade Ryan and Lopez this winter. Like that, I don't think that's out of the question right now.
If that happens, Hogs, I don't know what I'll do, but that will be, I was upset. Like when I kept seeing these things come around my phone. And I was like, I was expecting some of them. I wasn't expecting all of them, obviously. If we go into this offseason and they trade Joe Ryan and they trade Pablo Lopez and they trade my guy Bailey Ober, I don't know, man. I might go on hiatus here. I don't know if I can deal with that.
Then they don't care.
That would be remarkable and frustrating, and like I don't know that I could continue to support this team until we get new owners in, because that is breaking this franchise to a point where you can't even explain this in any decent fashion. You're just like, nope, we're done.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, what are we doing grading this year? Oh, it's like an hour and a half long episode.
Series grades.
This is a stark difference in grades here. This is remarkable. I'm going to give them an A. 2 out of 3 against the division leaders. The clubhouse is aired out. It's a new beginning.
It's aired out because there's no one in there to take up the air. Like that's
what I'm saying. It's great, Hogs. Everybody is breathing wonderful oxygen into their lungs because there's nobody in the clubhouse. And let me just say, as the optimist of the show, the Twins are only 6 games back in the wild card, Hogs.
Oh, my goodness.
This season's not done, buddy. Let's do it. Come on, young guns. Let's do it. Pablo's coming back. Buck is coming back. This team is better than it ever was after they got rid of that dead weight of Carlos Correa.
I have nothing to say back to that. I gave him a D. I'm still mad. Too little till too late.
You can't. That's not how you grade.
That is absolutely how I grade. This is a podcast.
No,
I get to say whatever I want to say, and I am giving them a D. I am still mad. I'm madder. If they would have got swept, I would have been less mad. Them winning 2 out of 3 and looking good against Detroit, all I kept thinking of was, wouldn't it be nice if we still had a bullpen and we could actually do stuff? Because then this team is looking a little bit exciting, but it's totally false hope. It just makes you angrier.
Okay, but I think if you use Dan's scale, the only column that like you could like maybe give momentum a 0, but I'd say the momentum is high here.
Well, who are the stars?
Back,
who are you giving
Let's
points
go.
to for the stars? Dan had a very difficult time identifying anyone on this team who was a star.
Ryan didn't pitch in the series. Lopez didn't pitch. Buxton sat. Luke Keaschall. Keaschall's the star.
He's the star, the mids, and the youth. He's got all 3 of them. 2s all around. That's a 25 out of 25. That's an A, folks.
I have magic hair.
There it
Glows
is.
when I sing.
Had to get one more. Well, speaking of great hair, if you want those long flowing locks to be blowing in the wind, if you're a river or lake lifer in Minnesota, odds are that somewhere on your boat you have a couple janky orange life jackets from back in the 1990s. We get it. They're just there in case the sheriff rolls up. But here's the deal. You're the captain of your vessel. It's time to take charge and take care of your people with safe, high-quality life jackets for all. It's 2025, folks, and that means it's time to say goodbye to the old orange life jackets that probably don't even float. Upgrade your life jackets at ravesports.com. You'll find value, great deals, and the sheriff will be proud of you. And if you use promo code Pulltab, it's 20% off your order. Rave Sports, make waves.
I don't know, Jack. It looked like Herbeck pulled him off the bag.
Herbie's headlines.
Okay, first of all, ESPN is buying NFL Network. I know that's not a baseball note. I don't know. Is this a good thing, Hogs, or a bad thing?
I feel like ESPN's getting a little too big for its britches. Saying. We got a monopoly going on here. $1.7 billion. I mean, if it makes it cheaper and you can actually get more games and not have to pay $500, then I'm all in for it. But there's no way it's going to be cheaper. So ultimately, I don't really care.
Yeah, I just thought it was an interesting note. I'm just wondering, with the baseball stuff and the constant TV changes, I wonder if this is going to be sort of the new play. Is one streaming service going to just make a huge dent in the market?
It would be phenomenal, right? Though if something like this happened to baseball, I would take it because baseball is just so hung up on all of its local markets, which frankly hurts the Twins in so many ways.
Yes.
But yeah, I feel like we're so far behind the times when it comes to baseball and how we view it. And if they can catch up to what the NFL is doing like this, where it's so easily accessible right now, where even on Sundays, like there's so many primetime games, there's so many national games. Baseball needs to do that more. Market your stars better.
Agreed. Speaking of stars, Hogs, your guy, Shohei Ohtani, money, do. He gets his 1,000th MLB hit, and of course, it's a home run, Hogs. Did you celebrate? Did you have a drink in celebration?
I legitimately, when I first read it, wouldn't have been that surprised if they said it was his 1,000th home run. Like, I know that makes 0 sense, but it was just like, yeah, that would maybe that would track.
Yeah.
He's way past Bonds. Don't worry about it.
All right, last note here. Jen Powell, it's a female umpire, Hogs. To the first time a female umpire will be in an MLB game on Saturday. This is what I want to say about this. The existence of umpire scorecards will make this transition for her infinitely easier than even 5 years ago. Because if she's good at her job, and especially if she outperforms some of the men, even if she's just middle of the road, right? Like, some of the umpires are so bad here, man.
So bad.
I just like that there's very objective standards we can look at and say, is she performing well or is she performing poorly? Because people who automatically say, well, she's a woman, so she can't do it. First of all, that's dumb. Like, let's start there. Like, if she can do it, great.
There's more of an objective way of measuring it right now, which frankly, Major League Baseball needs to be using those ump scorecards more often, because then you can get the bad guys that have been in there for like 30 years out, and let's bring in a new crop of people for this, because it's gross. Although, David, will it even matter in like a year when we start having ABS anyways?
Fair question. I just sort of wonder, I'm just happy that like if she does a good job and it's objectively true that she does a good job, it'll be very easy and quick to shut up the naysayers who are saying things like, well, a woman shouldn't do this. Anyway, hope all goes well for her. Let's go ahead and make our Puckett's picks for the upcoming Royals series.
And we'll see you tomorrow night.
Puckett's Picks.
The listeners are going to take Keaschall. Not surprising at all. Let's keep that record streak going.
I have magic hair that glows when I sing.
Dan is going to go ahead and pick Matt Wallner.
Yeah, that's a moose.
Yes, but a very cute moose. Make all the boy moose go.
And then you'll be next, Hope.
The listeners are doing what I like to do, where it's every time someone else has a great series, they go switch right away, and then the other person who they picked before is going to have a good series. I'm going with Austin Martin then, because I'm going to stay with what they picked the time before. Martin's getting a lot of hits. That's where I'm going.
I am super surprised that this guy is still available.
My back!
I got to go with Brooks Lee, man. That guy is hitting the ball as well. I do think, though, you got to give a little credit to the listeners. I don't know how many times they've had a chance to actually take Keaschall. This might be the second opportunity they could have actually taken him. But with that, Hogs, thanks so much for filling in. It'll be back to regular scheduled programming. You get to go back on hiatus here a little bit, Hogs. We won't hear from you for quite a few series, but thanks so much for filling in. Let me have a good vacation, especially because we kept you so busy with this trade deadline.
I literally cannot wait for you and Dan to talk about Pirates of the Caribbean and Gladiator for the entire episode next week.
So, well, yeah, we probably won't have much else to talk about at that point. I'll be tired out of talking about the trade deadline. But well, folks, if you like what you hear, please tell a friend. You can follow us on X at Men for the Win and find our Men for the Win Facebook and Instagram pages. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform so that you're notified when new episodes are available. And if you could leave us a rating or a like, we'd greatly appreciate it. If you'd like to support the show further, you can find us on Patreon. Link in the description. Thanks for listening, and as always, go Twins. That'll wrap up another episode of Men for the Win, a podcast hosted by David Kufis and Dan Thompson, two avid fans who appreciate well-played baseball, especially when it's done by the Twins. Thanks so much for listening, and as always, go Twins.